rose us up to be kings in their nation. So we gotta be careful how we lead the people, because if not, God gonna pop you like in Jeremiah. If we the sheep, you got sheep. That's why it's called a follow button. You're a shepherd. You gotta be careful how you lead these people. Look what they doing. So you gotta lead them to the holy place. God put you on a high place for a reason, but they'll take your mind and think it's not for that. If you take ice out the freezer, it's going to melt. God has lifted you up to be a leader. You can't mislead the people, bro. That's why people got mental issues and they can't fix them. You can't put a condom on your mind. That's why people lose their mind. They still got a penis, but they lost this. That's real, bro. God is dangerous. And when you got you in a position where you can teach them, you ain't got to be holy and preaching, man, but you still can lead them in the right direction, and God will bless you and take you higher. That's why it's always a ceiling. Before you got to do something else, that's what they say, you got to cross over. What Israel had to do, we had to cross over to Jordan. So God is in control of the crossover. God determined if we're going to cross over or not. We got to hit the ceiling. So he removed the ceiling. Okay, now dude, go higher. Because you glorifying me, and I want you to be right. Was not Moses in the midst of Pharaoh? Was not Mordecai beside Xerxes when Israel was in captivity? That's why he lifting you up. God lift us up for him. The reason we meet today, you gave me your time. You ain't got time to waste. Straight up. God make you stop traffic. We in captivity, bro. These people, we're slaves to these people, is we not? And God lifted you up and gave you a father in the midst of Babylon. You gotta watch how you lead these people. In Babylon, and God then rose us up.
Shalom, shalom. All right, this is the brother Mawam coming back with another sit down. But before I get started, I want to give all praises, glory and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah Bahasham, Habakkuk, and double honors to the elder apostles, great millstone, rule and teach well, and honors and salutations to the men of the Lord doing the same teaching same. Okay, the title of this lesson gonna be, and Salakia, to the viewers, one of the viewers that watch my videos, he told me to stop belching, and Salakia, sorry, Lord willing, it don't happen again. All right. So I'm gonna try not to be belching and stuff, burping in my videos. All right. So to all the viewers, sorry. Okay. But the title of this lesson is gonna be, don't be that guy in the video. You saw the video, don't be that guy. Okay. And he's, now the scriptures does say this before I proceed. The scriptures does say, you can do nothing against the truth before the truth. But that's not how you properly spread the gospel. Just walking up to different people, all right, and just sparking a conversation with them, okay? And you can also create enemies like that too, all right? But I'm gonna speak more on it first after I get this precept. All right, do nothing. Truth. It should pop up. Here you go. Second Corinthians 13 and 8. For we can do nothing against the truth but for the truth. You see? So, and we understand that, but still at the end of the day, you're not supposed to, you're not supposed to try to walk up to people like that and try to spark a conversation, a spiritual conversation. All right. And the guy was wrong on, his message. It wasn't the 100% truth. Now, certain things he said was the truth about America being Babylon the Great. And we're still in captivity. Yes, that's true. But and he wasn't telling the 100% truth. All right, that's that surface level Israelite type of conversation. When you hear guys talk like that, they not really in the truth, and you can tell just by you can just look at him and tell he's not really in the truth. Now, he knows a little bit about the truth. You have these type of Israelites, they watch different, Hebrew Israelite camps or whatever. And so they have, they have basic knowledge, and they believe some of it, but they don't really rock with it. So they still of the world, but they at least know this is Babylon and we in captivity, this, that, and the third. But they don't really, dive deep in the truth, you know. And the Lord talked about that. Let's I'm gonna get a precept on that. Lukewarm. All right, so I'm gonna be making a lot of points. So Lord willing, you know, it's edifying. Oh, Slack, I spelled it wrong. All right. So this Revelation 3:16. So then, because thou art lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. All right. You know, so that goes as a warning to you Israelites. You're not taking the truth serious. All right. Meaning what? You're not born again. Okay. You're not fully persuaded in the truth. All right. And you're not, you know, you haven't truly, the scriptures talk about making your body a living sacrifice. All right. And that just goes into, you know, devoting your time, your life, all right, to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. Okay. You know, and that's not to say you can't have a personal life, you know, but most of your time is going to what? You know, studying to show yourself approved, teaching the scriptures. Okay, teaching 100% truth to the whole for elect. Because this truth is only for the elect, okay? That guy in the video, he was on some nation building type of timing. You know, he wasn't coming with the 100% truth. That was basic surface level conversation, you know, and that's a guy that's not really in the truth, but he knows of it. You know, and he thinks he's doing his own thing. You're not supposed to be walking up to people just sparking the conversation and stuff like that. You know? And then he's not reading how they say read the room. And that's why I got this precept right here. Okay? And the point is what? 10. But I'm gonna read all of it. I want to read verse 10 too, real quick, and then I'm gonna read the whole thing. So this 1 Corinthians 12:10. All right. And not to be over righteous or hypocrite, because when I first came into the truth, I was doing that. What you see that guy doing in the video, I was doing that when I first came into the truth. You know, walking up to cousins and siblings and talking about, hey man, you know, we the true Jews, you know, that type of shit. And friends and things like that, just walking up and talking about the Bible and you know, basically doing the same thing. So, but you know, the scripture says this, you know, we do have to grow and elevate. So let me get this precept right quick. When I was a child, it should pop up. Childish. So this first Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. When I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Okay? So yeah, you know, of course, and the scriptures talk about newborn babes. All right? You know, and that's what the Lord was telling Nicodemus. You got to be born again. Not literally telling you, you know, it was in a metaphor or allegory speech. The Lord wasn't telling you got to literally become a child or literally be born again. The Lord wasn't saying that. The Lord was saying, your mind, your spirit has to be renewed. All right, through the spirit and power, you know, of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, and this truth, this wisdom, knowledge, understanding. All right. So let me get I think that's 1 Peter. Yeah, here you go. First Peter 2:2. As newborn babes desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. Okay? So yes, we grow in this truth. We grow in this truth. All right? That's why we pay homage and give double honors to the elder apostles, Great Millstone. Because they've been in the truth, going on 40 years. All right? They laid the foundation. All right? They taught us what we know today. All right? And the scriptures say continue in the apostles' doctrine. All right? Roughly paraphrasing. All right? So the point is, don't be that guy in the video. So let's go 1 Corinthians 12:10. All right? And the scriptures also say what? I'm Lord willing, I get it too, but we roughly paraphrasing, we're in the midst of wolves. All right? Be ye wise as serpents and harmless as doves. All right? Matter of fact, I want to get that right quick too. Wise as serpents. Because we're in the midst of wolves. So you got to understand, bro, what this truth is all about. Just like, Yahushua was hated, you're going to be hated. This truth is not something that's going to be accepted by the world. All right? This truth is precious. All right? We're to just teach it how the Lord told us to teach it. Okay? Not creating your own style and you just, I'm going to just be walking up to people, especially famous people, and I'm going to just start, trying to tell them the truth like that's going to do something, Now, like the scripture I brought out, you can do nothing against the truth before the truth. So the Lord uses these different situations, for the betterment of this truth. So it don't matter how, even though all the damage that the false prophets is doing, is actually propelling the truth and speeding up this truth, and a lot of people hearing it, and it's kicking up dust. Then you got your Israelites like the guy in the video that's not really in the truth, and they don't teach or nothing like that. They kind of they off in the shadows, or they don't really teach the Bible like that on the highways and hedges like the Lord told us, and they don't do no videos like this, teaching the Bible, but they spark conversations. Okay? And like I said, a couple of videos back, I had a co-worker, he got to talking about the Bible, and all because off of a simple, hey bro, what's your name? Because I ain't know his name, and he told me his name. I'm not going to say his name, I know it, but I'm not going to say it, just, but, and he was like, yeah, man, my dad, I don't know why, but my dad, he picked my name out of the Bible, and it means this in Hebrew, and this, that, and the third, and yeah, man, we yeah, bro, we the people of the, so, alright, once he said all that, I just act like I ain't no shit. I was like, oh, word? Oh, I act like, I never heard what you talking about, so, and it just comes with growing in this truth and having teachers, beginning with the elder apostles, Great Millstone, on down to all the brothers. All right, watching the brothers and getting spiritual advice from them, and they breaking down the scriptures to you, and now you're learning how to move in this world. All right, so now I know not to just be walking up to people and talking about the Bible. All right, So it says, and a lot of Israelites don't understand. You do know persecution comes with this truth, right? So the time is coming to where anybody, and Trump just signed another executive order. Basically they're going to be hunting down and locking up anybody that speaking against in so many words, speaking against the government or whatever like that. or anti-Semitism, okay? You know, pretty much along those lines. Anything being spoke against Babylon the Great, all right? So that persecution is coming. You Israelites, you know, that know that you're Israelites and you in this truth, you know, that's why we got to stay prayed up in Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shah and be sincere, all right? You know, not moving with deceit, not pretending, you know, like you about the truth and you in it, but really you're not, all right? Because we want the Lord to protect us in that time, all right? And we understand it's prophesied some will be run down and captured and be martyrs for the truth. We understand that, you know. But that persecution is coming. The time is coming to where every Hebrew Israelite is going to be hunted down, you know, by the government, you know, and they're going to try to, you know, put all of us in the concentration camps, all right? And they're going to try to force you to conform to the New World Order, all right, to denounce Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shah and to take the mark of the beast, all right? And we're not supposed to do that, all right? The scriptures say what? You're supposed to resist unto death, all right? Okay, so the elect, the Lord willing them of that number, the elect will never take the mark of the beast, the RFID chip, and that Neuralink, all right? And the elect will never submit to this new world order that's coming. Okay? So this Salakia. Alright, so this Matthew 10 and 16. Matthew 10 and 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. You see? So we're in the midst of wolves. Don't get it twisted. You can create enemies, all right? And that's why I want to get straight to this precept. You can accidentally mess around. You'll think you're doing, and don't get it twisted. I'd have made the same mistake. You know, quick story. You know, I'm not going to say his name, but I had a cousin. Something happened that because I told him, you know, about the truth, right? And I told him some prophecies. And, you know, something happened. And this was not that long ago, but he was like, yeah, man, you know, the martial law, I can see it happening, and the protest and this and that and the World War III. You know, so he was nervous. You know, my cousin was nervous, and he was like, man, I seen it, you know. And I guess he was in a certain state. Where it was kind of getting perilous, you know. It was looking like shit was about to hit the fan, all right? And so he was scared, and he was coming to me for answers and things like that. And I took it as he was sincere, you know. And this was, you know, a rookie mistake, but I took it as he was sincere. And I'm like, oh shit, he about to. It seemed like he trying to, you know, come into the truth. You know, maybe this is it. You know, and I ended up giving him my YouTube channel, and then he turned around and basically became a scoffer. You know, he doubled back and became a scoffer, and he tried to expose me, and he disagreed with me about, you know, the prophecies, some of the prophecies I was bringing out. He ain't like that, and, you know, he ain't like certain things I was saying in my videos. So he tried to expose me. Well, not even say expose, you know. And then I had different uncles and everybody calling, and it was like, you know, trying to check me or whatever. But the Lord, it backfired on him. Okay, it backfired on him. Long story short, you know, this dude, his life is falling apart. You know, now, you know, he lost one of his previous jobs. You know, he's being threatened to be put on child support. All right, he's being faced with allegations, rainbow allegations, or sodomite allegations. You know, and he's being faced with you know, those minor allegations. You know, so yeah, it's like, hey, the Lord destroyed this nigga, you know? So he tried to expose me for teaching this truth, and the Lord exposed him and ruined his life, you know? So all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah for doing that, you know? So yeah, that's why. So not only we telling you this from the scriptures, all right, but we also telling you this from experience. Like, you don't want to just, you can create enemies like that, you know. So that's why the scripture says this. First Corinthians 12:10. To another the working of miracles, to another prophecy, to another discerning of spirits. You see, discerning of spirits, to another diverse kinds of tongues, to another the interpretation of tongues. And those are different gifts from the Lord, from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. All right, so different brothers blessed with you know, different gifts and this truth. All right, you might have a certain brother, he can speak multiple languages, speak in different tongues. You got another brother, he's a great speaker. All right, you got another brother, he got perfect memory. He can remember all scriptures and all breakdowns. You know, you know, you got and you got another brother, like it says, discerning of spirits. Okay, you might have a handful of brothers, they great at discerning spirits. You know, they can figure people out easily and quickly and be spot on. All right. You know, and that may be some of you that's watching the video. You know, you might can pick up on people vibe real quick, and you know what type of time they on. You like, yeah, this person ain't right, or whatever like that, you know. So those are gifts from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. All right, so we got to use our gifts, you know, to this, for this truth. All right, to magnify and to push this gospel. All right, and to praise Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. Okay, and you do it the right way, the way the Lord told us, not your own way. Okay, I'm gonna end it on this one. So this Matthew 7:6. Give not that which is holy unto dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. Okay, excuse me, Salakia. All right. So, Lord willing, that was edifying. I want to end it and give all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Hawakak Badash, and double honors to the old apostles, great millstone, rule and teach well, and honors and salutations to the men of the Lord doing the same and teaching the same. Shalom.